illustrious national coach. She's here from the warm city of Atlanta, and she'll be talking about the program. So go ahead.
Well, good morning, Minnesota.
Good morning, Casey.
Look, I want to give a shout out to Carter for picking me up at the airport. Thank you, Ian and Florence. Thank you so much for allowing Carter to pick me up. I appreciate the lift.
I could only say thank you, Carter, because he's always doing things that are above and beyond the call of anybody.
I'm very excited to be here. My name again is Tracy Atkinson. I am a member of the Crazy Women Voters of Atlanta, Fulton County, and I am a state board. I'm on the state board of directors for the Georgia League. I've been on there for 3 years now. I'm serving as the first vice president. I was interim president when our previous president she had a child, so she wanted to take a hiatus from the league, as you can imagine. And I stepped up till we took the boy until we had elections, but I did not want to be president at that time. I had a lot going on. I do a lot with nonprofit work. So if I were going to do that, I wanted to be dedicated to just being president of the state league. But I enjoy the work, and I'm always available for anything I can do. And when the opportunity to become a Sure Fellow was posed to me, I was excited about it because I have learned so much and gained so much from the league. I wanted to give back, and I felt like this was a great vehicle for me to give back to the league. My time, my talents that I gained from league work back to the league. So it's that sustainability that my friend Florence always talks about. I wanted to follow the model. So I welcome you all this morning, and I'm thrilled to be here for this workshop. We know that leagues do many things across the nation to strengthen democracy and to engage citizens in our communities. We also know that elections in communities are held at all levels, all the time. And in fact, the place where people can potentially have the most impact with their vote, and where often voter turnout is lower. So we wanted to share this workshop. And bear with me as I don't have a Mac, so I'm learning the Mac as we go.
The right and left arrows work for that.
Right. Okay. I want to give you an overview of the Membership Leadership Development Program. And I know you've had some modules already before I arrived, which really drilled down into the program, and done your getting to know you exercise, the STAR exercise, which I love, where you get to see the level of leadership and talent that you have right here in the room. And so we want to take that leadership and that talent and channel it into this program to grow the League of Women Voters in Minnesota. We want to think together today about the big picture happening around us in our country, in our politics, and how the challenges we're facing today also offer an opportunity for the league. How does this moment, in fact, call on the league to step even larger and more boldly forward into the challenges for the sake of our democracy, for the preservation of what our foremothers fought so hard to achieve? The right of all of us to vote. How does our trusted reputation in the work we do to create a more engaged citizenry and a more educated voter, a more civil public discourse serve democracy best? How can we help strengthen the league as we help strengthen our democracy? Waters had 100,000 members, leaders jostling for position and for power, money to burn, and staff to complete every wish. And then reality set in. Membership declined, leaders disappeared, revenues sank, and the staff was reduced. In response, the MLD was introduced, that being the Membership Recruitment Initiative. And this initiative was birthed to use tried and true best practices, and therefore began a national training program focused on membership growth. The MRI, and we're calling it 1.0, and you'll see why in just a minute, was a partnership among all levels of league in all that we do, intentionally focused on recruiting new members, engaging current members, and developing new leaders. This will be the structure of the partnership. LWBUS, and I know you've seen this in Miriam's presentation, with the LWBUS board, Shore Fellows, and the LWBUS staff engaged, working with the states and the state board, state coordinator, and the state coaches, working with the local leagues and the league board, the coordinator, and hopefully in every league, a full committee dedicated to leadership development. National, state, and local leagues speaking with a united and powerful voice, working towards a common mission, sharing resources and knowledge. It's great if the state of Minnesota or the League of Women Voters of Minnesota has all these wonderful resources, and Georgia, League of Women Voters of Georgia has great resources. It's even more powerful if we're sharing those resources. So I think nationally they recognize we need to open up the lines of communication here, not just this way, but this way as well. Because I know when I go to convention and council, I get so inspired hearing stories about what other leagues are doing. So, and I think you were talking about that earlier, Kathy. It's a partnership in terms of resources and knowledge. Enter our heroes, and this is where we go from MRI to MLD. The Sure Fellow program was a result of a generous bequest to LWBUS in honor of Ruth S. Shure, a longtime league leader, and the bequest was by her husband in her honor. A second bequest in honor of Nikki Harris, also a longtime league leader, by her husband, underwrites the cost of webinar software. So, we went from MRI to MLD, Membership Leadership Development Program. And the program has actually been running. Minnesota came on last year, so now I'm calling it MLD 2.0. So, this phase 2 targets on the second big challenge, which is not just membership growth, but developing leaders, leadership development, using best practices and training focused on growing leaders. Core of MLD 2.0 really is fostering a mindset of looking to the future, seeing possibilities, embracing change, which sometimes with League of Women Voters can be a dirty word, change. Well, that's not the way that we've always done it. That's not the league way. So we have to learn to embrace change and providing vision. We've also got to understand our strengths, give support to each other's and our communities, all while doing the good work of the league. So we're not changing what we do. We're still accomplishing our core mission, registering voters and conducting educational, informational forums in our communities and hosting candidate forums. But we're doing it with a little bit more focus and targeting membership and leadership development. With leadership development, we're preparing members to lead through building knowledge and confidence, intentionally identifying and including emerging leaders in league activities. So we're creating a leadership ladder, and I think we may have a handout. We have a leadership ladder handout.
We're going to do that as the workshop on Saturday.
Excellent. So this training is all going to come together. Everything is tied together, and we're going to drill down to the most basic level. So how do we ask people to serve in leadership? Any suggestions? Any examples?
If you don't ask, you won't get a response.
But it can be uncomfortable for people.
Yep.
You could ask them, you notice their interest in this and think they would be a great one to handle this new project
Yes.
or role.
Yes, Deb, I noticed that you are very passionate about ABC. You ever thought about something in leadership, being the chair of the ABC committee? You know, and because it plays to her passion, she might be more open to it. How do we set up systems that support new leaders?
Well, that's where the coaching comes in.
Coaching. Florence, were you gonna say?
Just this training, this kind of, these materials, these.
Training,
Yeah.
resources. How do we create opportunities to mentor potential leaders?
Stay in contact. Create lines of communication between people, the new people and people who had that job before.
Absolutely, Suzanne. We can't just say, okay, Suzanne, I think you would be fabulous as the Voter Services Chair.
Go for it.
Have at it, and we'll see you at the next event. Should I call somebody that did it before? Yeah, so that's a great opportunity there for the person who's doing it before you to work alongside with you, either co-chair a smaller event leading up to it, or allow you to, even better, allow you to shadow them doing it before they leave that position or that office. When we give that kind of thought beforehand, then we can plan accordingly for a transition plan or a mentoring program specific to league needs and league sustainability. So, with all of this coming together, we notice we're better together. Big revelation, right? Ding, ding, ding. Sure Fellows, online training, our fabulous state coordinator, Deb Price, the state coaches, national staff supporting everyone's needs, all working together to strengthen the league of voters. So we see all of the pieces of the pie coming together, right? And right now, if we look at the political climate, there's a lot of big challenges facing the league. Everything is highly politicized, and there's a lot of partisan dialogue, but are the parties talking to each other? No. And so there's opportunity there for the league to help kind of mitigate things and help reach resolutions. And nationally, they are reaching out to the league. They're asking what we think about issues and where we stand on issues. So what we're doing at the grassroots, local level, and all the way up to national, we are getting visibility and respect. We have laws threatening to deny voters the right to vote, and boy, am I in the right place for that.
Yeah, are you talking Georgia or Minnesota? Where we
Minnesota.
defeated that, yes.
Yes.
Defeated the amendment.
Yes, you all said, we're not gonna take it. And voters crave authentic solutions. They want nonpartisan, factual information from a trustworthy source, not Senator so-and-so's opinion on women's medical rights. What do the facts say? What do the numbers say? So the league is needed now more than ever. How many of you believe that? How many of you can see the league serving as a beacon of hope and a refuge to people who are also frustrated with the level of partisanship and decisions being made for politics only rather than for the good of our community or our country? How many of you can see those people joining us and becoming an army of activists, demanding a change to the rancor, a change to deliberate efforts to misrepresent information? They wouldn't do that, right? And forging together to help us protect the right to vote and to push for solutions to the challenges we're facing. If you can see that, we can work together towards it. And that's what this program is all about. Well, a critical component to the program is the coaches. And these are pictures of the national coaches. This was the first year that I came on board, and this was training in Baltimore, both of them in Baltimore, and that's the second year. That's this year's group of Sure Fellows there.
Can you see me? Can you see me?
Go up and point yourself out.
Back row, because I'm tall. On the right side. And on the
That's
on,
it.
and it's on the same position actually on the other one.
So this means having ongoing trained and supported state coaching teams in all 50 states to support the local leagues in growing the league. To support the state coaching teams, we envision a national coaching team to help build, support, and inspire state teams. The great thing is that this is already happening now. Already 32 states and the District of Columbia are participating.
And actually, we're now at 50.
9 states just joined this year, a couple months ago, right? And so we have systematically worked to bring the country on board in this program. So, but we're in MLD 2.0 for Minnesota because great coaches like Kathy and Miriam and others that you'll see later, and our fabulous state coordinator, I cannot say enough about this lady, Deb Price. Minnesota was a bright and shining star. What do we have? 13.1?
11% growth this year. I mean, it's incredible. Last year, we were down, but we were down less than we've been for many years last year. We have, I mean, it's amazing. We've overcome the loss of members and are growing. Thank you very much.
11%. That is really phenomenal. Really phenomenal. And people are talking about Minnesota. And not just because of the membership growth, but also because of the way that you came together and rallied other organizations. And yes.
And that's Sherry here is on staff. And I mean, unbelievable.
I know, I get to talk to her.
Once a month. I think that's incredible. That's just unbelievable.
Absolutely. You all are to be applauded. And so I welcome new coaches into the program. Molly, Suzanne, Lynn, welcome, and we look forward to working with you. And anytime you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate. Grab any of us and say, hey, what is this? Or like Miriam presented, now what is it that I gotta do? How was the question? Now what was that again?
What was it? Yeah.
Because you will say that, I guarantee you, you will say that. Because you take in so much training, but it will make sense to you as you start to execute the program and read in your quiet time. So I didn't mean to get off the table. But within the league, we are providing training, working in teams toward common goals, implementing best practices, and coaching. Outside the league, we are intentionally including MLD into all league activities, especially public ones, just like we just talked about with the voter ID issue here. Developing external relationships, partnerships with the media and community organizations, increasing the league's profile and visibility in our communities. Believe it or not, this is what helps us grow and develop as an organization. All three of these components. As we talked about, the league is, we are an organization that believes in numbers. We like facts. So, all 50 states and DC will be are in the program technically, but by the end of the year, will be fully into the program. 23 fellows, national coaches. So that's roughly one for every 2 states. And over 100 state coaches. I love to hear that. And so it's going to be more. It's going to be more by the end of the year. And training received by every state. And when we look at that, better membership numbers. As a national league, membership grew nationwide in 2012. Overall, the league experienced a net growth of about 0.3% from January 2012 to January 2013. That doesn't sound like a lot, 0.3%. But when you've had several years of declining numbers, 0.3% is awesome because you've turned tides, you've turned it around. So we're excited about what the numbers are going to be for this year, at the end of this year. It's a modest increase, but it reflects the reversal of multi-year trend of membership loss. So this is a very, very important milestone. And even so, the leagues participating in the MLD program, when looked at as a group, experienced even greater growth. Participating MLD leagues grew by 1.34% overall. So that is definitely to be commended. And that's better membership numbers. And when you look at when I look at numbers, I tend to respond to numbers. So if you can tell me all day, we've got better membership numbers, but if you show me those numbers, I'm a believer. More community involvement, visibility and connection, renewed hope and enthusiasm, belief in the power of our mighty, mighty voice. The League of Women Voters. I told you, I've heard from the president, our national president, and I know Florence has as well, that they are being called upon by national leaders to ask what the league feels about different issues and where we stand. So that is really power and respect. And that's the goal there, because in order for us to grow, we have to be relevant. We have to be relevant and connected, as we're saying, to the community and to the issues and what's going on. Also in 2012, the league served millions of diverse voters online and in person. Online with our voter guide. In person, we had several candidate forums and informational forums and get out the votes and everything you can imagine, all things elections. We fought back against unprecedented assaults to voting rights and won. Registered over 100,000 new voters from underrepresented communities. Love it. Love the numbers. And we saw tremendous membership growth in targeted leagues. So these are great lessons for everyone. How can we build on these wins? Any suggestions? How can we build on these wins? Go ahead, man. I see those wheels turning.
Well, I had a longer drive this morning because I couldn't come yesterday. And, public radio was interviewing women in Iran who were told they could run for office. And so they tried, but now they've been told they cannot. And I think we just have to be vigilant because it seemed to me in this last go-around again about voter IDs and other infringements on that basic right of democracy. You know, we were coming close again to having people say, hey, ladies, maybe you should go back to the kitchen. I don't know. Not that I don't love my kitchen. You know, I
Me
like
too.
butter in it, but, and then there was another movement on public radio right after that about a movement that has religious overtones, or not religious overtones, it's religious beliefs as its fundamental. And in that one, they outright stated women should stay in the kitchen.
Oh.
So you just need, I think, and then, you know, the other important thing to me is that we like to see Florence's husband because we need men who are supportive of us. And I wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't have one of those. As some of you may have the same thing. Yeah. So it's just, it's a society thing. It is not just women. It's a society thing. End of sermon.
No, that's great.
Well,
input.
the other population that bothers me are the people that do not have mobility.
Yes, disability.
And so they're in nursing homes or they have diseases that they can't easily get out, and we see that in Minnesota, this pushback against the permanent absentee ballot that our presidents went through a lot of problems last year to get her husband's renewed, and the man is mostly in bed or a wheelchair, can't leave the house. But she was pressured from the people in Brooklyn Park about, well, like his disability is going to go away and now he can vote, and that's really, really scary.
See, that's what we do, the League of Women Voters. We take those issues, whether they're popular or in the limelight or not, we really don't care. If it does happen to be in the limelight, we'll take it and run with it. And especially if it's not a very visible issue, we will sound the alarm and rattle the cages and make sure that somebody somewhere hears about it and figure out who we need to get to affect change, who we need to talk to, what we need to give them to start the process for change. Florence, you look like you want to say?
When you're talking about how can we build on these wins, growing membership means potential for growing leadership. And it is so incredibly important to find a place that fits for every new member, to say nothing of existing members. It's just so important.
Actually, I think that's our biggest challenge. We get new members and then
Ignore
they're not
'em.
asked to do specific things, and then after a while, they don't feel that they really are making a commitment or a contribution, and they just stop coming as often, and then.
Or they get used to not having to do anything and then they assume that somebody else will take care of things.
One of our biggest successes this year was we had a woman run for the legislature for maybe the first time we ever have in our community. And but before it happened, we had a second woman run for the same seat, so they had a primary, and we invited them to league and we encouraged them to run and get involved, although they were unfortunately running against each other, so they couldn't both win. And in some ways, the person who most exemplified league didn't win, but she joined league And then in a little while, her sister-in-law joined the league. So we got 2 new league members, and they're very young. And we have we have a really strong link to the person who's our new legislator.
Well, I'd like to also say that League spends a lot of time helping the citizen ceremonies. And so our league, this new member is actually a new citizen. And she's from Ethiopia, and she is very excited about being in League. And we're very excited because she can connect to a whole different population of people. So she's going to bring Ethiopian food to our next meeting, and she'll be here for the convention.
So what are local leagues saying? This is a quote from Grace of the Topeka Shawnee League. I thought our legislative forum Tuesday night was a huge success for our league. Not only did the chance to collaborate with other organizations give us a boost, but we passed the clipboard around the audience during the event. We got 36 people's contact info who said they would like to be notified about future league speakers at the Topeka Library. Local league members really came out for the event, engaging current members. The forum was Skyped live to 3 libraries in New York City and will be replayed this Sunday night on KPR. Tell LWBUS the membership ideas work.
Wow.
So, join us as we move forward to MLD 3.0, which our national board is brainstorming what that's going to look like right now. So I'm excited about that. I want to know that our national leaders are staying a step ahead of how we can develop and take this organization to the next level. Got to stay relevant. We're continuing the Sure Fellows and the coaching model, institutionalizing training components, engaging state leagues in sustainability. That makes a big, the state board being engaged in this program makes a big difference in the success of this program. It has not worked in some states where the state board was not engaged. So we don't have to worry about that here. The Minnesota State Board of Directors is very engaged. And we're inspiring local leagues to grow and thrive and raising funds to support this program. You'll see, especially when you go to convention cards, or you'll hear invitations to give a donation to the local league fund for growth. What do they call it? The
Education fund, is what we call it, or
no, for the MLD.
fund for growth, yeah.
Fund for growth is what it is. And so
This pin is something that,
that's they sell that, and those proceeds go to
yeah,
the
it's-
MLD
yeah,
program.
the pin is just, is what you receive as you give that gift.
Because the request from Mr. Shure is not a limitless amount of money, and so we've got to figure out as an organization how to sustain this training in this program, because it does cost money. But
So
we see the
does that
effects.
donation go to the state level, or does it go to the national?
National.
Okay.
But it comes back to the state and
Right.
rolling out these
Sure.
trainings. Future trainers and future coaches, training future coaches.
Sustainability of the program, it's really all about sustaining it, and
So I assume it's tax deductible.
it's
Yes.
education fund.
Education
Yeah.
fund?
Yes.
And in
Good
Minnesota,
point, Betty.
yeah.
You gonna say?
It's okay.
So Minnesota is on the grow, 11%. So what's in store for this year?
Isn't that just an incredible thing?
What's
I
in
mean,
store
just,
for-
this is my last year on the board.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you, it's like a hallelujah moment for me.
Yes.
I'm so grateful that we as a collective body turned that around. And incredibly, I mean, it's just amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. And I'm very excited.
This same excitement that Florida has, have it nationally, I promise you. And the president, our national president, said she looks at Minnesota like it was, what did she call it, the perfect storm? We had the big issue, it was rallied behind by all of the allied organizations, the media was heavily involved, and that's all the components of this. We couldn't plan that if we wanted to, but when it happened, we were all over it, and you see the benefits of it.
But we welcomed that opportunity to be working with allies, to be very visible. We embraced that in many, many, many ways. And got our membership to embrace that. It's everything came together. But it wasn't a happenstance thing.
That's right.
And I think Sherry can attest to that.
And I know it was a lot of work.
Yes, yes.
Hard work. Late nights, long days.
Sherry's going to talk about that at the convention.
Okay.
Yep, we have a really wonderful, that's very exciting.
Okay, any questions on overview? Yes, ma'am.
How many, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
well,
while you
she's
think,
well,
I just wanted a numbers question. How many states does each Sure Fellow coach?
some have one like me, I just have Minnesota, most have two.
Oh, okay. How
Most
did
have
you
two
get
states.
lucky with that?
I don't know. The national staff deliberates over that. But it
I
was
think-
perfect for me.
And I think I have a bit of an insight in that. Minnesota started off out at the gate with a very full coaching staff and numbers of leagues. At the very beginning, we were right there. Now, other states are still growing to reach even the number that we have. So I think that it was we're a full plate.
I have my co-coach, Deborah McMillan, she has 2 states, but one of her states only has 3 leagues in the whole state.
Mhm.
So you see
Really?
kind of the balance, and we had, how many leagues? Deb?
14.
14
14 leagues.
first year.
That are just participating. We've got lots more states or leagues to go, but
Coming up.
yeah.
So, you can imagine our conference calls this year, and when we first started out, Miriam, especially trying to use Skype with all the state coaches, me, state coordinator, and then Sherry joined us. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but we got it done, and you see the numbers, the results, and we're going to do it again this year, and it's going to be bigger and better. And I'm so glad to have you all. Are there any other questions? We're doing good on time. Right on time. Deb, what's next on your agenda?
Next up is Kathy. She's doing the role-playing exercise,
Okay.
and I'll get that handout for you. Do you want to be at the podium, or would you rather stay here?
Well, let's see.
I'm going to turn the floor over to Deb and Kathy.
So, does each hear that? Here.